It's a Jets class episode coming your way after a victory. We're gonna stick with the positives. It's good feelings with the Jets, or there should be good feelings with the Jets. They finally won a game, and they did so with their offense looking awfully good and their defense and Sauce Gardner making a play when it counts. So why don't we get right to those good feelings, specifically here with the takeoff. I've spent the majority of my career covering the New York Jets, and unfortunately that means I have spent the majority of my career watching losing football. With the exception of the 2015 season, where the Jets truly did have a legitimate shot of making the playoffs going into the final week of the season, every other year has ended long before week 17 or 18. And because of that, the majority of the final weeks and months of the season, fans have been wanting the Jets to lose to get the best possible draft pick, believing that was going to lead them to the best possible player. I don't think that should be the case this year. In fact, I think fans should be hoping and rooting for the Jets to win. Get some excitement, some life in your life, because guess what? Having a significantly higher draft pick, it doesn't guarantee you a significantly better player. Who would have thought that the Jaguars receiver Brian Thomas would be looking like a significantly better prospect than Marvin Harrison, that Olu Fashanu would be playing as good, if not better, than Joe Alt. There are good players everywhere in the draft. You just need the right GM to find them. So Jet fans, enjoy a win if they're going to win, just like the Jets did a week ago against Jacksonville. It is time now for 4 Downs, and it is presented by Monmouth University. Explore further at monmouth.edu/amplified. You guys know how it works. It's 4 topics on the Jets, my thoughts on those topics, and it starts, as always, with First Down. Well, you've started to see some names be interviewed or interviews scheduled for the Jets general manager vacancy, and that's going to continue over the coming days, weeks, and months. But I will say this does not mean that a hiring is right around the corner or that the Jets have singled in on one candidate and that's the guy that they want and they're already going to make their hire here with December not even over. This is going to be an incredibly thorough search for this team. In fact, I wouldn't rule out them hiring a head coach first and having that head coach contribute to the finding and hiring of the next general manager. The Jets know that they need to end this 14-year playoff drought. They are hell-bent in finding the right men to end that 14-year playoff drought, and they aren't going to make any rash, immediate, reactionary decision. That's just not what they're going to do. So yeah, they've started interviewing candidates, but the reason why they're interviewing these candidates now is because these candidates aren't currently employed by other NFL teams. This doesn't mean that they're not going to go look at the Chiefs executives or the Lions executives or the Eagles executives or any of these well-rounded, high-caliber, high-thought-of options. They just can't necessarily do it yet, but don't worry, they're going to. Another week of Malachi Corley on the inactive list, and it just makes absolutely no sense to me. The Jets are eliminated from the playoffs, so what they should do is exactly what Todd Bowles did, exactly what Adam Gase did, exactly what Robert Saleh did early in his tenure as well. Get the players who could potentially contribute to this team 2025 and beyond reps, and more reps. Let them take their lumps now in a lost season, hoping and believing that that will help them in contributing to this team when they want to make a run in 2025 and beyond. Corley is a player that the Jets loved in the draft. Joe Douglas, Robert Saleh, and yes, Aaron Rodgers. For him to just be a complete non-factor, I don't care if he doesn't contribute as a punt gunner. I don't care if he's not on the kickoff or kickoff return team. Oh, by the way, he should be on the kickoff return team. Get him out there because he can still make plays as a receiver. We saw that on his infamous touchdown where he dropped the ball before the goal line. That speed, it hasn't been on the Jets offense this year. There's no reason he and other youthful guys on this roster shouldn't be playing, but specifically Corley, get him on the field. We don't need to see Alan Lazard anymore. Get the young guys out there. When Joe Douglas was hired as Jets general manager, he made an infamous statement at his introductory press conference. He wanted to surround then Jets quarterback Sam Darnold with protection and playmakers. Well, Joe Douglas is gone, so is Sam Darnold. But one aspect of that promise, it does look like Douglas fulfilled it just before being kicked out the door. This Jets offensive line, it has legitimate long-term pieces in place. Joe Tittman looks like a mainstay at center. Olu Fashanu looks like an absolute brick wall at left tackle. Elijah Vera Tucker, while not necessarily playing at an all-pro level, looks like a force there at guard, and so does John Simpson. The Jets still need a long-term answer at right tackle because, again, Morgan Moses isn't going to be here forever. But to have 4 of 5 pieces locked down moving forward, 4 or 5 pieces you can build around, 4 or 5 pieces you can protect a potentially young quarterback in 2025 and beyond. Yeah, that's something that a lot of potential coaches are going to be quite keen on when they decide whether or not they want to take this Jets job. I had a feeling we were finally going to see the Jets offense erupt against the Jacksonville Jaguars, in large part because the Jacksonville Jaguars had the worst pass defense in the entire NFL going into last Sunday, and after what Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams did to them, I imagine they're going to stay right there at number 32 for quite some time. There have been obviously a lot of Jet fans now that have come out of the woodworks to say, look, Aaron Rodgers can still play. He should absolutely be a part of this team 2025 and beyond, maybe even 2026. But I've still been told that is highly, highly unlikely. In all likelihood, the Jets and Rodgers will part ways after this year. The new GM coach are going to want their own quarterback. Woody Johnson probably prefers a change as well. So this is probably the final few games of Aaron Rodgers' Jets career. But I will say this about Rodgers. The Jets did what they could, and Rodgers himself as well, hiding some of the injuries that he was dealing with or downplaying some of the injuries he was dealing with early in the year. I was told by one Jets team source that the hamstring injury that he had was such a significant grade that it was everything but being torn off of his bone. That's how bad it was. The highest grade you can have with that hamstring still being attached. In my opinion, they probably should have let people know, because I think the opinion and the outlook of Rodgers' final potential season with the Jets is viewed entirely differently if you knew what he was dealing with as a player. And I know Rodgers doesn't want to use any of it as an excuse. The Jets don't want to use any of it as an excuse. It doesn't matter because the Jets still lost their games and there's no prize for trying or anything like that. But if you knew what Rodgers was dealing with day in and day out just to get on the field for the Jets and then finish these games like he did, maybe the organization, maybe the team, maybe the fans, I don't know, maybe this year's looked at a little bit differently. Thank you guys so much for joining this episode of Jets Class. It was an absolute blast having you along for the ride. If you want to watch all previous episodes of the show, you can across SNY's digital platforms. That is Facebook, that is X, that is SNY.TV, and that is YouTube. If you are going to watch us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to SNY's YouTube channel and to give all those Jets videos a little Jets like. Oh, and then also when you're there, check out Jets Final Drive, our recap show with myself and Janae Coakley. You guys are going to absolutely love that. Make sure you join us for Jets Final Drive after every one of these Jets games. If you want more of me and the rest of the Jets pregame live crew, you can find us at 12 o'clock on Sunday at SNY. Before the Jets take on the Rams. That is SNY, that is 12 o'clock, that is Jets pregame live right before Jets Rams. We'll see you guys there.